Hi. On 12.6 now, I am asked to, what are the instructions? Figure out what kind of quadratic surface is described by this equation. It says match the quadratic equation with the surface it defines. Well, there's A, B, C, D, E, and F. I feel like that's just not very much practice, so instead what I'm going to do is construct a big sentence that talks about the solution set to this quadratic equation. I'm going to say it's an ellipsoid with the eccentricities encoded by the following equation. Now, you could ask, how did I know that it was an ellipsoid? I know it's an ellipsoid simply because there's an x squared term, there is a y squared term, there is a z squared term, and the coefficients of all those guys are positive. And when you're determining the shapes, only the signs of those coefficients of x squared, y squared, and z squared are important. Also, make sure that that guy over there is positive. That's all you need. If everybody's positive, then you know you have an ellipsoid. You can slow down and think about it for a while, as I'll do in lecture, and think about what happens when you have a constant z value, say when z is 0. If z is 0, then you're looking at x squared plus y squared is equal to 10, and that's the equation of a circle in the plane z is equal to 0. Okay. Now, I also wanted to talk about the eccentricities to describe this ellipsoid a little bit more. So what I'm doing is I'm writing the equivalent equation where I divide every term by 10 to get a 1 on that far side. And then these denominators right here, 10, 10, and 10/4, they encode the eccentricities. In particular, you should rewrite those numbers as the squares of things. So I seem to have jumbled this up, and instead of writing the denominator as the square of something, I wrote it as the square root of something. Oh yes, this also I wrote as the square root of something, and this I wrote as the square root of something. And then I wrote that the eccentricities were these squares. Oh boy, that was a mistake. Rather, what I intended to do, I'm not sure. Should I completely cross that out? Well, these guys are wrong. I should think of this as the square root of 10 squared. So take the square root first and then square it. Eccentricities Okay, so when you've got your y squared and your z squared term, if you have x squared over a squared, then the eccentricity in the x direction is a here. So I wanted to think of that denominator right there as something squared, not something square rooted. Okay, so actually it's the square root of 10 squared. So I should have said the square root of 10 is the eccentricity. And the eccentricity in the y direction also is square root of 10. Well, the eccentricity in the z direction is the square root of 10 over 4. And I feel like being too lazy to reduce that to 5/2. Now I'll go on to try to draw this. Keep watching if that is what you would like to see. I'm going to use a bit of a finer pen. I'm experimenting with this big fat pen today. Okay, we'll put that guy in quarantine. Now, I'm going to have an ellipsoid. I'll draw this guy in blue. I think blue shows up just fine. And its eccentricity in the x direction is square root of 10. Square root of 10, where is that? Somewhere between the square root of 9 and square root of 16, so between 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, somewhere about there. Alright, then I'll go back a ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, and about there. Okay, so I need to make a circle, or rather an ellipse, in the floor that matches up on those two. Let me see this ellipse in the floor. I need to know the eccentricity in the y direction also. That was square root of 10. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and right there, just past 3, I'll put a dot, and I'll go in the negative y direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, and just about there I'll put a dot. So I need to draw an ellipse that goes through all of these points, and that will be the part of this ellipsoid that sits in the floor. Come on, art skills, be with me. I'm getting nervous. Yeah, that's not too bad. Fumbled a little. Okay, and then I also need to write out the eccentricity in the z direction. The square root of 10 over 4, let's see, I was saying the square root of 10 is a little bit bigger than 3, and so I need to divide that by 2. That means a little bit bigger than 1.5. So let's see, we go up, maybe I'll make a tick mark here, 1 and 2. Here's 1.5, there we go. Going down, I want to make a tick mark of the same size. That's about, I don't know, fingernail size. Down there, 1 and 2, about 1.5, so right there. Now I need to make another ellipse that passes through these 2 points and these 2 points. To do that, I'll cheer myself on again. Come on, art skills. Okay, now if I had put in some forethought, I would have made that blue line back there broken. So maybe what I'll do is I'll go back over this in red, and I'll make this circle, or this ellipse here in the YZ plane solid, and I will make the front part of this ellipse solid in red, and in the back I'll break up the line because you're looking through the ellipse into that red part. Okay, now you can see I'm not the best artist. You're probably better than me, but this is meant to simply give meaning to what I am talking about here. Have fun drawing. Oh, one last thing. It occurs to me we had 3 variables, x, y, and z. And so we can name our axes, the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. And did that 1 ever show up over there? No, you probably had no idea what I was talking about.